I'm really pleased and honored to welcome Ramesh Kumar sir. And there's a small video for you, sir.
Sure. Hi guys, good morning.
1 minute, 1 minute.
1 minute, sir. Guys, till then, from the new comment box, start posting your attendance, guys. It will be tracked.
We are happy to welcome Ramesh Kumar V, co-founder and CEO, Graha Space Z Space Technologies Private Limited. He is going to speak about identifying and utilizing emerging technologies while starting up. Once again, we welcome you, sir.
You can start our sir now.
Good morning, good afternoon, guys. That was a good video. Thank you so much, Raghavi and team, for doing that. And hi, everyone. Pleasure to meet you all online. So today, let us discuss about identifying and utilizing emerging technologies while you are starting up. Let me just share my screen.
Okay, sir.
Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So one minute, let me just. Yeah. So, a brief introduction about myself. I have been a technology entrepreneur for about 15 years in both corporates as well as startups in India and Singapore. I have been mentoring and managing student teams building Kalamsat V2 and CrescentSat by being part of Space Kids India. We were part of the India's very first student-built satellite. I've also guided and managed teams training multiple applications built on machine learning models related to image recognition and object identification as part of IBM Watson team. I was part of this, video and animation live streaming team at IBM India, wherein I was designated as senior executive producer, and a lot of IBM events have been streamed through our team. And I'm also an alumni of Indian Institute of Remote Sensing with good work experience with Dell, Prasad Bharati in the technology domains. So this has been my previous experiences, streaming videos and then, connecting with students, connecting with professionals, training them on a wide variety of technology domains, both for corporates as well as for startups, and also for the government bodies. A lot of government bodies we have trained. More than 5,000 professionals we have trained during my tenure, and I've also been, having good tie-ups with a lot of corporates with their technology consulting work. And the recent venture, Graha Space, we are one of the two satellite production companies in India, Earth observation satellite production companies. So we are right now building nano satellites, and we are planning to launch a cluster of nano satellites into low Earth orbit, next year, sometime next year. So right now we have been working on that, and we are widely covered in the media as well. Coming to today's topic, I wanted to convey to the youngsters that a lot of people just go ahead and start up just because they have studied Python or they have studied artificial intelligence or data science. They just go ahead and they start up. The way in which the speed at which they go and then they start doing things is okay, but a lot of thought process has to go in between before going and putting your resources, your time, money and efforts into building something. You need to actually make sure you do a little bit of homework behind, so that you can efficiently go ahead and do it. Not all your ideas are going to work out really well, and not all your ideas, your shower thoughts, are going to be the next big things. But then everyone can come up with the next big idea. There is no doubts about that. But then before going ahead and executing whatever you thought, you should have to ensure that there are certain things that you analyze and augment in order to validate it, right? So everyone can come up with the next big idea. It's not that only the corporates or only the people who have work experience need to do it. Even students can do it. And the key thing is that you want your idea to stand out from the crowd, right? It's not that you don't want to be you don't want to be a me too kind of thing. So everyone wants to do that. Everyone wants their idea to be standing out. So they always have a USP. They would in many of the startup pitches I have seen, that people come up and say that we are the next Facebook. We are building a social network for this niche audience. Whether it's really required or not, and whether it has got the potential or not, is something which is a question which they need to ask themselves, right? So putting it in a proper structure, I have put this slide with 10 steps to identify and utilize emerging technologies while you are starting up. So technology has always been there. It always keep evolving. Even if you look at 80s or 90s, at the time also technology has been evolving. And if you look at 90s or 2000, that time also technology has been evolving. If you look at it right now also it's evolving. So it's an ever evolving process. So what we have to do is to go step by step from your idea stage to implementing the problem. Analyzing the problem, understanding the solution, and then getting it to a profitable business through the use of technology. So that's what I'm going to discuss about today. Okay. So the very first step is that the customer segment. So have you clearly defined your customer segment? Do you really understand them? அதாவது என்னோட கஸ்டமர் வந்து ஒரு 20-30 years ஏஜ்குள்ள இருக்கிற மக்கள், இவங்க இந்த மாதிரி காலேஜ் கோயர்ஸ், பைக் வச்சிருக்கவங்க, அந்த மாதிரி நீங்க கிளியரா டிஃபைன் பண்ணிருக்கீங்கிறது வந்து ஒன் ஆஃப் த மோஸ்ட் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் திங்ஸ். சே ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள், நான் வந்து புது விதமான ஒரு எலக்ட்ரிக் பைக் செய்ய போறேன் அப்படின்னா, ஸோ அதுக்கு வந்து உங்களோட கஸ்டமர் யாரு அப்படிங்கிறத வந்து நீங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டிஃபைன் பண்ணணும். ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிளுக்காக நான் சொல்றேன், எலக்ட்ரிக் பைக்ங்கிறது இட்ஸ் அன் எக்ஸாம்பிள். ஸோ ஆல்ரெடி இருக்கா இல்லையா, அதுக்கப்புறமா வந்து அவங்களுக்கு தேவையா தேவை இல்லையா, இப்போ வந்து நீங்க எந்த ஏரியால லான்ச் பண்ண போறீங்க, எதுல வந்து எந்த மாதிரி இன்னோவேஷன் அதுல கொண்டு வர போறீங்க, அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் வந்து நம்ம யோசிக்க வேண்டியிருக்கு. ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து அதுக்கு முதல் ஸ்டெப்பே வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா கஸ்டமர் செக்மெண்ட்டை டிஃபைன். ஸோ தட்ஸ் த மோஸ்ட் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் திங். Start with a clear customer segment you want to target. It will keep you in focus and will make it easier to come up with the right solution. It can be utilizable for everybody. And then, multiple audiences can also be benefiting from it. But then, first, your primary customer yaru அப்படிங்கிறது clear-ஆ define பண்ணிக்கிட்டீங்கன்னா, it will be much more easier. That's what it says. Okay. So, I have heard countless times that the idea is for everyone. So, இது யார் வேணா யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாங்க, எல்லாருமே யூஸ் பண்ணலாம், கண்டிப்பா பண்ண முடியும். Solution for everyone is a solution for no one. So that's the common thing. Okay. So therefore, you should define your customer segment in a bit more depth. If you try to solve the problems of humanity right away, chances are that it's going to be incredibly difficult. There are a lot of problems humanity is facing right now. A number of things. COVID, pre-COVID or post-COVID, if you take, always there have been problems for people. A lot of things, a lot of problems, a lot of issues the people keep facing. So, இப்போ நீங்க நான் அப்பவே சொன்ன மாதிரி கார் வச்சிருக்கவங்கலாம் என்னோட கஸ்டமர் செக்மெண்ட் நீங்க சொன்னீங்கன்னா, இட்ஸ் நாட் அ ரைட் டெஃபினிஷன் ஆஃப் அ கஸ்டமர். பீப்புள் who own a car but barely drive their car and use it only during their weekends. So இந்த ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் வந்து செகண்ட் ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இட்ஸ் அ கம்ப்ளீட்லி டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட். It's very specific. It addresses the right kind of customer segment, and then it actually gives you a time frame. இப்போ யாரெல்லாம் கார் வச்சிருக்காங்க, யாரெல்லாம் கார் வச்சிருந்து அதை வந்து ரொம்ப கம்மியா யூஸ் பண்றாங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து ஒன்லி வீக்கெண்ட்ஸ் மட்டும் யூஸ் பண்றவங்க அப்படிங்கிறது தான். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி வந்து கிளியர் டெஃபினிஷன் ஆஃப் அ கஸ்டமர் இஸ் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் at the initial stages when you are having your idea, the very first idea வரும்போது. ஓகேவா? ஸோ ஈவன் ஃபேஸ்புக் ஆரம்பிக்கும் போது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பேக் இன் 2004 இப்போ வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா மோர் தென் லைக் 2.45 billion active users are there. It didn't start with 2.54 billion active users. இப்போ வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நம்ம தாத்தா பாட்டி வச்சிருப்பாங்க, நம்ம அம்மா அப்பா will have Facebook. But at that time when it was started, it was not for all these audiences. They have only started with college students. That too, especially for the elite college students, Stanford, Harvard, MIT. இந்த மாதிரி வெறும் காலேஜ் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்கு மட்டும்தான் அவங்க ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணது. மார்க் ஜுக்கர்பர்க் when he started, it was only for them. So very clear definition of customer segmentation when Facebook was launched. Okay, so that's one of the most important things which you need to consider in mind. I don't know whether you guys have watched the Social Network movie. If not, you should go ahead and watch it. So on the movie, they would have clearly showed you how he came to build that app, and then how he went ahead and promoted it through college students. Limited invite only app பண்ணது, அது எப்படி வந்து spread ஆச்சு அப்படிங்கிறது very clearly they would have showed you. So it's a very good movie also. So you should go ahead and watch it. Okay, so customer segment definition is the very first thing before you go ahead and build your technology. Second thing வந்து அந்த particular customer segment ஓட problem, have you spotted the problem that customer is having? So that is more important. இப்போ நிறைய பேர் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா, ஒரு விஷயம் சார் நான் வந்து இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஆப் பில்ட் பண்றேன், அதாவது ஐ எம் பில்டிங் த நெக்ஸ்ட் வாட்ஸ்அப் வித் video calling facility, with payment transaction facility, with near field communication, எல்லாமே சேர்த்து பண்ண போறேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. But that's not a very good feasible idea. Okay, so they're having a solution and they're looking out for a problem. So not every solution has a problem. Okay, you should not be starting with a solution and going back to see which is the problem that you're addressing. இப்போ இதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா a watering plant that can water itself, வந்து somebody had done it. Actually, I don't even know how these people came up with these crazy ideas. In the West, people do all these kind of things, right? And somebody had come up with a wand to press Control Alt and Delete at the same time for unresponsive Windows machines. So that somebody had given, come up with a physical prototype. அப்புறமா வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்த ஸ்க்ரீன் பிளைண்ட் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க, wherein people can directly look at the screen without having any disturbances. So இதெல்லாம் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா these are solutions, these are very good solutions, yes, but do you have a real problem for somebody? I mean, is this definitely addressing someone's problem? அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா it's not so, right? You can also see that, right? So not every solution has a definitive problem, but every problem has definitely a solution. In fact, every problem has multiple solutions. Okay, instead of starting with a solution for the selective customer segment, start with identifying their problems. At any given moment, you should be able to tell which problem you're trying to solve for your customers. எந்த சிச்சுவேஷன்ல நீங்க கேட்டீங்கனாலும் இந்த ப்ராப்ளம் தான் நாங்க டெஃபினட்டா அட்ரஸ் பண்றோம் அப்படின்னு. இப்போ ஓலா கேப்ஸ் அப்படின்னா they are trying to make cab booking very simple by aggregating all the cab operators. The same with Swiggy or Zomato. They are aggregation platforms where they list out all the restaurants in your particular area, and it makes it easy for people to order food from their app. So it's very clear solution for a problem. Earlier, people used to go ahead and buy food from outside. They used to call restaurants and then they used to get food home delivered. அது வந்து சில இடத்துல only city areasல தான் வந்து people get home delivery of food. Rural areas, like tier 2, tier 3 cities, they usually don't do it. So what they came up with is a beautiful app which actually started aggregating all the restaurants in any particular area. Given the location, you would be able to see all the restaurants serving in that particular area, and then they would have the supply chain wherein they have their delivery executives who go and collect the food on your behalf and then come and deliver it to you at the home, at your doorstep, right? So that's a critical problem that Ola or Swiggy or Zomato solve, which is a very good thing, right? So if you manage to identify and solve a problem which is painful enough, people will be ready to pay for the solution. So இப்போ எப்படி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஓலாக்கானும் சரி இல்லை ஸ்விக்கி ஜொமேட்டோக்கும் சரி, you actually have to pay a service charge, and people are ready to pay it. It's okay, they get food at their convenience, they get cab at their convenience, so they are willing to do that. So not every solution has a problem, but every problem has a definitive solution. You need to just think right. அதுக்கு தான் வந்து நம்ம கஸ்டமரை வந்து நல்லா புரிஞ்சுக்கணுங்க. ஓகேவா? Have you spoken to at least 3 of the each stakeholders about the problem? At least 3 stakeholders கிட்டயாவது நம்ம பேசியிருக்கோமா அதுக்கு முன்னாடி அப்படிங்கிறது தான் வந்து ப்ராப்ளம் டெஃபினிஷனை one of the most important things. Talking to the customer is one of the most important things. I have learned by talking 2 minutes with the customer than my 6 months of market research. For primary, secondary data, primary data is directly talking to people, which is very less. Secondary data is all the information available around, based on opinions or based on other reports which other research companies might have done it. And the research reports, so your forecasting, articles or news மீடியால வர ரிப்போர்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் வச்சு நீங்க யோசிக்கிறத விட, you go and directly talk to your customers for 2 minutes and it will give you a lot of insights. So problem interviews is one of the most important things which we need to consider. Okay, so go and talk with the customers now. Seriously, this is a single most important suggestions we want you to take away from this presentation. Okay, go and talk. So இப்போ நீங்க ஒரு app build பண்றீங்க, or if you are building some sort of a hardware, you need to first go and talk to your customer whether there is a need for it. Okay, it's important that you not only think that you have found a problem, but that your customers validate that they are indeed feeling the problem. Ipo on the particular problem pathina ipo Swiggy or Zomato, they might have gone and spoken to a lot of customers regarding food ordering. Of course, a lot of Indian startups are a replica of the West, but still இங்கே ஹோம் பேஸ்டே வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நிறைய பீப்புள் ஹேவ் பீன், இப்போ ஓயோ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஓயோ ரூம்ஸ், ரிஷப் ஹேஸ் பீன் he had been aggregating all the cheapest possible hotel rooms across India, and then he was putting it in an aggregation platform. So இப்போ அது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா earlier நம்மளாம் லாட்ஜில் ரூம் எடுத்துகிட்டு இருப்போம், இல்லை we would be going around and dropping into the hotel and then booking the rooms, or you used to call and book the rooms individual hotel. ஒரு இடத்துக்கு போறேன்னா 1000 பிளான் பண்ண வேண்டியது. Now it has become so simple that you just order through an app. So this guy had been homeless for some time and he really understood the problem. He had gone through that problem. So what had that had actually influenced him while he was building that app. So that either you should be able to go through the pain point, or you should understand from a customer point of view what exactly is the pain point that they are facing. Okay ma? So idu பண்ணும்போது அது பேசும்போது தான் வந்து you will get to know. Unless you talk to customers, you will not know. There is one more thing, one more perspective to this. Some innovative products, when they're coming into market, that actually helps people to do certain things in a better manner. இப்போ ஆல்ரெடி வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சைக்கிள் ஓட்டிட்டு இருக்கவங்க சைக்கிள் ஓட்டிட்டு இருப்பாங்க, பட் தென் வென் ஆர் I'll go for the hello sorry hello so is there a question?
Yes, okay உடனே போடுறேன்.
Okay, so earlier Ford வந்து cars வந்து கொண்டு வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி there was a saying, இப்போ ஹார்சஸ்ல வந்து மக்கள் போயிட்டு இருந்தாங்கன்னா, you go and ask anybody, they would say they want faster horses அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்கன்னு சொல்லி. But what Ford did was Ford understood the problem and he understood the limitations of how fast a horse can run, and இவ்வளவுதான் மேக்ஸிமம் அதனால கொண்டு வர முடியும். So at that point of time, there is a disruption required. So you move away from horse to a car. So that is a completely different scenario altogether. That's a different perspective altogether and a different scenario altogether. That is that at that point of time, disruption happens. That also involves Ford, unable to move around different places through horses, and horses go limitations irundirukum. Adanala he might have felt that problem definitely. That also comes from him going through the problem. Okay. So so these are the two aspects to it. But then most of our solutions that we are building, we will have to talk to the customers. Okay, ma? Problem interviews is another thing. So you never know if the problem is actually there before it is confirmed. So நீங்க பேசியிருப்பீங்க, போய் பேசுனீங்கன்னா sometimes அது ஒரு ப்ராப்ளமாவே இருக்காது. They are okay with whatever they are doing and they might be continuing to do whatever it is. Understand the context of the problem, how bad it is, why do they not solve it already, etc. சில டைம்ஸ் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சில இஷ்யூஸ் வந்து அப்படியே விட்டுருப்பாங்க. சில அதான் ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் லெவல்லே they would have left it. So it actually means that it's good enough and it's working perfectly and they're happy with it. Unless or otherwise there is a disruption that's happening, you don't need to disturb it. It can go on and on forever. You will have a list of people who might become your first clients after you talk to them. So on the money in the mood point, you need to keep in mind. You never know if the problem actually is there. நீங்க பேசுனதுனால அது ஒரு ப்ராப்ளமா இல்லையாங்கிறது தெரியும். We will be able to understand the context of the problem. எவ்வளோ தூரம் இருக்கு, எவ்வளோ தூரம் அந்த ப்ராப்ளம் அவங்க வந்து ப்ரெஸ்ஸிங் ப்ராப்ளம்ங்கிறது தெரிய வரும். யூ வில் ஹேவ் அ லிஸ்ட் ஆஃப் பீப்புள் ஹூ மைட் பிகம் யுவர் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கிளைண்ட்ஸ். இப்போ உங்க அந்த ப்ராப்ளம் பற்றி பேசி நீங்கள் வந்து இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சொல்யூஷன் கொண்டு வரலான்னு இருக்கேன் அப்படிங்கிறது ஒரு பிட்டை போட்டிங்கன்னா தென் யூ வில் ஆக்சுவலி யூனோ ஈவன் டேர்ன் யுவர் those people into your first set of clients. இந்த மாதிரி நாங்கள் கொண்டு வரலான்னு இருக்கோம், நீங்கள் என்ன நினைக்கிறீங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னால், ஓ யா டெஃபினட்டாக ஐ வில் பி இன்ட்ரெஸ்டட் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்கன்னா that has a potential, I mean that customer can become your potential client. Seriya? So that's why you should go ahead and talk to your customers in the early stage itself, preferably at the idea stage itself. So that serves as a validation. Whenever you're building a product and you go ahead and talk to your customers, what happens is the chances are that if your product is super good, they will definitely provide you a letter of intent, or you should go and ask for one. ஸோ லெட்டர் ஆஃப் இன்டென்ட் என்னன்னா, இந்த மாதிரி இந்த டெமோ காமிக்கப்பட்டது எங்களுக்கு, இது வந்து எங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப சாட்டிஸ்ஃபேக்டரியாக இருக்கும். ஸோ வி வுட் பி மோர் தென் ஹாப்பி டு ட்ரை அவுட் த ப்ராடக்ட் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ஒரு லெட்டர் ஆஃப் இன்டென்ட் கொடுப்பாங்க. ஸோ தட் வில் சர்வ் அஸ் அ வேலிடேஷன். ஈவன் இஃப் யூ கோ ஃபார் ரைசிங் இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட்ஸ் ஆர் இஃப் யூ ஆர் கோயிங் ஃபார் onboarding your core team, that letter of intent will serve you, I mean will help you out in a long way. Okay. So fourth step வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, now before getting into the technology, have you estimated if the problem is really worth solving? Problem இருக்குமா இருக்கும், but it could be for only one small area. Problem இருக்குமா இருக்கும், but it could be for one particular community of people. It might not be for a wider audience, might not be for a wider audience. So that you need to figure it out. That is how big is the market. Okay. So the problem size estimation வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, it's one of the most important things. இதுல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, the more the people having the same problem, the more you would be able to sell your product. That's what exactly you need to understand from this point. Estimate the size of the problem that you're solving. It will help you communicate the seriousness of the problem. So இவ்வளோ பேருக்கு இதே பிரச்சனை இருக்கு அப்படின்னா, so then the problem is more serious in that particular area. So இப்போ let's compare two ways of explaining a problem. The European companies have hard time finding talented employees. It's a very, very generic statement. Europe itself is big. European companies, there are a lot of them, and they have hard time finding talented employees. It's a very, very generic statement. But then when you break it down, you will get a clear number. On average, corporates spend 20 hours to find a suitable candidate. Taking into account the salary of 20 euros per hour and the fact that we hire 100 people every year, we spend 200,000 euros on just finding talented employees. So it's a very clearly defined problem size estimation. எவ்வளோ தூரம் இதோட இம்பாக்ட் இருக்குங்கிறது வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். அதாவது 20 hours ஒரு சூட்டபிள் கேண்டிடேட் கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதுக்கு ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணுறாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறமா வந்து அந்த 20 ஹவர்ஸ்க்கு 20 pounds salary, 500 people ஹையர் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னா ஓவரால் எஸ்டிமேஷன் வந்து 200,000 euros போகுது from the HR side. It's a very big problem. So this was one of the key size estimations for AI based candidate screening. Seriya? So that's where these two pointers come from. Make sure you estimate the problem that you want to solve, and this will make your point more credible once you communicate to managers or sponsors or investors. As I already told you, Understanding the problem size is very important. So the bigger the market, the better it is. You could be in a B2B space or B2C space. B2C space na mass market the more the appealing the product would be. B2B na what kind of businesses that you are targeting on the particular market size you should be able to estimate. So that's where you will this problem size estimation comes into picture. Once you have analyzed the problem completely, இதெல்லாம் தான் வந்து பிரச்சனை, இதை வந்து நம்ம வந்து ஒரு எஃபெக்டிவா நம்மளோட டெக்னாலஜி யூஸ் பண்ணி ரிசால்வ் பண்ண போறோம் அப்படிங்கிற ஸ்டேஜுக்கு வந்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் இதை வந்து நீங்க பிரெயின் ஸ்டார்ம் பண்ணணும். Have you come up with more than one single idea to solve that particular problem? இப்போ ஒரே ப்ராப்ளத்தை பல விதமா சால்வ் பண்ண முடியும் நம்மளால. ஓகேவா? இப்போ Malia had 10 popsicles, she gave 6 to her friends. How many does she have left? இப்போ இது வந்து ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் வச்சிட்டீங்கன்னா இது மேக்ஸ் ப்ராப்ளம். ஜென்ரலா ஃபார் அன் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இதை வந்து 4 விதமா இதை ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ண முடியும் உங்களால. இப்போ அதை வந்து ஒரு பிக்சர் போட்டு அதை வந்து கிராஸ் பண்ணி யூ கேன் சால்வ் இட். ஒரு டேப் டயக்ராம் மாதிரி போட்டு சால்வ் பண்ண முடியும். 6 இந்த பக்கம் 4 அந்த பக்கம், ஸோ டோட்டலா 10. அப்போ இது போயிடுச்சுன்னா எவ்வளோங்கிறது நம்ம சால்வ் பண்ண முடியும். நம்பர் லைன் நீங்க போட்டு சால்வ் பண்ணலாம். அதுக்கப்புறமா வந்து ஈக்குவேஷன் எழுதி சால்வ் பண்ணலாம். ஸோ தேர் ஆர் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் வேஸ் இன் விச் யூ கேன் அப்ரோச் எ problem and provide a solution. Okay, so you know who your customer segment is, you know their problem, and you probably already have an idea or two to solve these problems. In the stage quantum, we are stepping into the solution space. Before you move on, stop for a minute and try out a couple of ideation exercises to get more ideas. Who knows, maybe you will come up with even better ones the more you brainstorm it. Tappunu poi pandradha vida you should sit with your team and brainstorm it. Okay, I wanted to stop a moment here and then I want to show you how different algorithms came into picture in order to sort numbers in a series. Okay, இப்போ say for example ஒரு particular pool of numbers இருக்கு, 1 to say for example 1 to 100 jumble ஆயிருக்குன்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்க. How is a computer able to sort it out? அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து different ways of different algorithms are there in order to sort it. So on the sorting algorithms there is somebody had beautifully visualized, which will give you a clear idea on how different ways you can solve the same problem. I'll just open that video 1 minute. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Okay, cool. So that one is a selection sort. Okay, so it keeps selecting and then insertion sort. So இது வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா quick sort அப்படின்னு சொல்லி left right parameters பார்த்து கம்பேர் பண்ணி ரெண்டு நம்பரை எடுத்து சால்வ் பண்ணிட்டு இது வந்து merge பண்ணி சால்வ் பண்ணலாம். So there are a couple of numbers it takes, it merges each other and then it actually solves it.
ஆமா, ஜூம் கிடையாது. அது இஷ்யூ இல்ல. அதுல வேற ஏதாவது இமேஜ்
This is another algorithm called Radix, wherein it actually puts it into clusters and then compares it and then analyzes it and then puts it in an order. This is your standard sorting, wherein it keeps comparing numbers and then it puts it in order. So finally, it actually puts everything in order, and the curve gets flattened properly. So like this, there are multiple approaches to the same problem. Okay, so there are around 15 different algorithms which people use in order to sort numbers. I mean, at least 15 different visualizations of 15 different algorithms. That's what it is. I'll open another one.
Sir, sorry for the interruption, sir.
Yeah.
Can you please can you speak a little louder, sir? We can't hear you.
Okay, sure. So now whatever you're seeing is an algorithm, I mean the same sorting algorithm, but then it's for color coding and then putting it in the term of the sorting. They have visualized it. Bubble sort activity are there. Insertion sort, random sort. All of them visualized in the same way. இது வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா insertion sort.
Sir, we can't hear you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you now. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. So actually, I think that audio had taken it up. The QuickTime audio bypassed the computer audio. So இது வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா just an example on multiple ways in which you can approach the same problem. So these are different algorithms which are used to sort real numbers. Say for any number 1 to n. ஓகேவா, இதை வந்து visualize பண்ணிட்டாங்க. Usually computer does it this way. That has been visualized in this manner. Okay, so what the crux of the matter here is that once you have proper ideation, I mean, once you sit and brainstorm, you will have multiple approaches to the same problem. Sorting of numbers is the problem, but then இதை இத்தனை விதமா சார்ட் பண்ணலாங்கிறது தான் வந்து the point here. ஓகேவா, similarly இப்போ say for example உங்களுக்கு வீட்டில் வந்து ஹவுஸ் ப்ரொடெக்ஷன் கொடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னா as in ஹவுஸ் ஆட்டோமேஷன் பண்ணணும் இல்லை ஹோம் செக்யூரிட்டி பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னா அதுக்கு மல்டிபிள் வேஸ் யூ கேன் டூ இட். நீங்கள் ஒரு இன்ட்ரூடர் எல்லாம் போடலாம். You can set up a CCTV camera outside. You can actually monitor it through your public camera which is available on the streets. இந்த மாதிரி மல்டிபிள் வேஸ் இருக்கு. ஓகேவா, இல்லை பீசோ எலக்ட்ரிக் சென்சார் வைக்கலாம் அவங்க டோர்ஸ்லாம். Otherwise you can actually have motion detector on different places and then you can detect that. The n number of different ways to understand that your home security is compromised. So what is the most efficient solution is what you need to think for your particular customer segment. Okay va, adukaprom once you have brainstormed all the ideas, you need to see if there is any technology solution already available for the same problem. இப்போ say for example நீங்க ஓகே நான் வந்து இந்த ஹோம் செக்யூரிட்டி சொல்யூஷன் பண்ண போறேன், இதுல வந்து ஒரு சிசிடிவி கேமரா இருக்கும், அப்புறம் ஒரு இன்ட்ரூடர் அலார்ம் சிஸ்டம் இருக்கும், இதை இன்டகிரேட் பண்ணி நான் வந்து ஒரு ஆப்பா கொடுக்க போறேன் அப்படின்னு நீங்க ஒரு சொல்யூஷன் பாருங்கன்னா, அதை வந்து உடனடியா பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி you will have to go through the market research. ஆல்ரெடி அவன் பண்ணியிருக்கானா, அவன் வந்து என்னென்ன ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் எல்லாம் சால்வ் பண்ணியிருக்கான், அவனோட சொல்யூஷன்ஸ்ல என்னென்னலாம் பண்ண முடியும், என்னென்னலாம் பண்ண முடியாது, அவனோட காஸ்ட் பாயிண்ட் என்ன, அவன் என்ன கஸ்டமருக்கு வந்து டார்கெட் பண்ணா அப்படிங்கிறதெல்லாம் வந்து we should analyze it very much. Check for the existing technology solutions already available for the same problem. That's more important thing, so that you don't end up reinventing the wheel. Okay, don't actually here it is given as reinvent the apples, but that don't reinvent the wheel is the crux of the matter here. Make sure to be up to date on which other alternatives are available to solve the same problems. So information, or knowledge of the particular market is very important here. Unless you have a knowledge of what is there, என்ன products இருக்கு அப்படிங்கிறது தெரியாம, you should not get into it at all. If you do that, you will end up wasting your time, effort and money. ஸோ அது பண்ணக்கூடாது. அதனால தான் தரோ மார்க்கெட் ஸ்டடி இஸ் மோர் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் அட் திஸ் பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் டைம். ஐடியேஷன் பண்ணுறது ஒன்றுன்னா, having the market intelligence is the second most important thing before you go ahead and build your product. So that will help you in a lot of things. Okay. For example, a lot of software companies don't understand that Excel is usually their alternative. If their software is not solving at least one problem better than Excel, it might be difficult to find adapters for that particular solution. Also, it makes sense to understand the competitive landscape and scout what your competitors are doing, what is working and what is not. இது ஒர்க் ஆகுது, இது ஒர்க் ஆகலன்னு தெரிஞ்சிடும். உங்களுக்கு மார்க்கெட் இன்டெலிஜென்ஸ் இருக்கு, இதுல ஆல்ரெடி அந்த இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் கலெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னா, இந்த மாதிரி 10 ப்ராடக்ட் இருக்கு இந்த மார்க்கெட்ல ஆல்ரெடி ஹோம் செக்யூரிட்டிக்கு, 10 ப்ராடக்ட்ல 5 ப்ராடக்ட் இஸ் மோர் எஃபிஷியன்ட் அண்ட் பீப்புள் ஆர் வில்லிங் டு பை இட் அண்ட் இட்ஸ் ஆல்சோ இன் குட் ப்ரைஸ் பாயிண்ட் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அந்த 5 ப்ராடக்ட்ஸ் வந்து உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிடும். Then after that, what you need to do is you need to analyze that 5 products. If you still want to go ahead and do it, இல்ல எங்க டெக்னாலஜி பேட்டன்டட் டெக்னாலஜி, எங்களால வந்து இன்னும் நிறைய சுப்பீரியரான திங்ஸ் பண்ண முடியும் அப்படிங்கிற பட்சத்துல, you should actually analyze the existing products in the market and understand what's working and what's not working for them. Okay, so that will also help. Even if you want to come out with a new product, having the knowledge of the existing products will also help. இப்போ சே ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் சில செக்டர்ஸ் வந்து ரொம்ப நியூவாக இருக்கும். சே ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இ-காமர்ஸ் as a sector was very new in 2007-8. 2007-8 வந்து ஃப்ளிப்கார்ட் வந்த போது there was nothing. ஃப்ளிப்கார்ட், மிந்த்ரா, ஸ்னாப்டீல் were all the new players in the industry at that point of time. பட் ஆனால் அவங்க என்ன பண்ணாங்கன்னா, ஒவ்வொருத்தரும் ஒவ்வொரு டிஃபரன்சியேஷன் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஃப்ளிப்கார்ட் வந்துச்சு, அது வந்து புக்ஸ் எல்லாம் சேல் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்க அப்போ. தென் ஸ்னாப்டீல் கேம் and said they will sell household items, they will sell all these consumer items எல்லாம் விற்கிறேன் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. Then Myntra came and they told that they are unique in a way that they will only sell fashion accessories, dress materials, clothing, accessories, இதை மட்டும் தான் பண்ணுவோம் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. So that's their differentiating factor. So even if you have competition, or even if you have a product and still you want to get into the market, you need to understand the competition and you need to make sure you have a very good, clearly defined differentiation factor. This will help you to have a good market share for your particular product. So Google might not be your first friend in finding innovative concepts. ஸோ இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கூகுள் தவிர உங்களோட ப்ராடக்டோட இதை தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கு யூ நீட் டு கோ த்ரூ ப்ராடக்ட் ஹண்ட், ட்ராக்ஷன் இருக்கு, ஸ்ப்ரிங் வைஸ் இருக்கு, இதுலலாம் வந்து நீங்க சர்ச் பண்ணி பார்க்கலாம். ஒரு ஆப் கொண்டு வரீங்க, இல்லை யூ ஆர் பில்டிங் சம் சார்ட் ஆஃப் ஆன்லைன் போர்ட்டல் அப்படிங்கிற பட்சத்தில், இல்லை ஒரு ஹார்ட்வேர் பில்ட் பண்றீங்கன்னா, யூ கோ த்ரூ ஆல் தீஸ் போர்ட்டல்ஸ். கூகுள் தவிர ப்ராடக்ட் ஹண்டோ இல்லை ட்ராக்ஷன், ஸ்ப்ரிங் வைஸ், இல்லை யூ கேன் கோ த்ரூ angel.co, F6S. There are a lot of companies doing these kind of things, and you should be able to know about it. So that these are all the ways in which you can collect market intelligence. Okay. Another way in order to understand where the market is going, hype cycle. So this is one of the most important things that you need to have in mind, and you need to follow this actually. This will give you a very clear understanding of which stage the particular technology is in. ஓகேவா? இப்போ சே ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஒரு 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 4-5 years பேக் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எவ்ரிபடி வாஸ் டாக்கிங் அபவுட் ஐடி ஆப் டெவலப்மெண்ட், மொபைல் டெவலப்மெண்ட், டெஸ்டிங் அதெல்லாம் சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. Now everybody is going towards artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning. Wherever you go, everybody is saying AI ML powered application, AI powered app, இது வந்து AI powered hardware, இது வந்து AI powered device அப்படின்னு சொல்லி எல்லாத்துக்குமே AI கொண்டுட்டாங்க, AI and ML கொண்டுட்டாங்க. ஸோ இது வந்து this is what you call it as a hype cycle. So it keeps changing every 6 to 8 years. ஓகேவா? ஸோ இப்போ இதோட இந்த ஹைப் சைக்கிளோட ட்ரெண்ட் எப்படி இருக்குன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து இனிஷியலாக ஒரு டெக்னாலஜி ட்ரிகர் ஆகும். சே ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இப்போ ரீசெண்டாக வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா யூ ஹேட் யூனோ ஹியூமன் கம்ப்யூட்டர் இன்டர்ஃபேஸ், நியூரோமைன் இன்னும் வந்துச்சு இல்லையா, ஃப்ரம் ஈலான். ஸோ அது வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு டெக்னாலஜி ட்ரிகர் that will come very first as in the market. Nobody might have heard of it earlier, or people might not even have known about it. Similarly, for 2005-6 4-5 la pathina Steve Jobs came up with Apple iPod. Okay va, iPod vandu it combined your music player, it combined your couple of things, no? So adella eduthu vachi he came up with this iPod. Three things he came up with this iPod. So அந்த ஒரு இத்னோண்டு டிவைஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி காமிச்சார். அப்போ வந்து அது ஒரு டெக்னாலஜி ட்ரிகர். So it is coming in the market for the very first time. Similarly, இப்போ 80s ல வந்து personal computers were a thing. That was a technology trigger. At that time, it just started. Windows, IBM had its own machines. Apple came up with its computer. அது மாதிரி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா there were small players. Zenith ஒரு player was there in India. HCL came up at that time in India. So that was all technology triggers for that particular point of time. 2000, late 2000, early 2000s, early 2000s, late 2010 அப்படிலாம் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா then the mobile phone revolution came. From your Nokia handsets to இப்போ recently the smartphone mobiles and all. Smartphones all came up. So that's a technology trigger. Once what happens is, once the technology trigger happens, momentum starts gaining. Early adapters வந்து அதை யூஸ் பண்ண ஆரம்பிப்பாங்க. Then they will start talking about it. They will show it coolly outside. அப்புறமா வந்து they will start writing about it. Lot of media coverage வரும். அதெல்லாம் வரும்போது ஒரு peak of exaggerated expectations போகும். அதாவது people would all want to rush and then they want to get it and then they want to use it and they want to show it in their social media pages and all. So that is when it will peak. And the exaggerated expectations போகும். Once that happens, what happens is a lot of people would understand the limitations of certain aspects to it. அது வரும்போது it will come down actually. And the usage வந்து come down. It will definitely come down. We would easily know which trend is picking up, which trend is not. நம்ம அந்த டெக்னாலஜி வந்து நம்ம ட்ராக் பண்ணிட்டே வந்தோம்னா ஓவர் அ பீரியட் ஆஃப் டைம் ரொம்ப எழுதுவாங்க, ரொம்ப நியூஸ் வரும், அப்புறம் கொஞ்ச நேரத்துக்கு அப்புறம் ஒண்ணுமே இருக்காது, திடீர்னு காணாம போயிடும், அந்த ப்ராடக்டே காணாம போயிடும். So that is what the trough of disillusionment is. What happens is a lot of people will understand the limitations and they will move away from it. அதுக்கப்புறமா என்ன ஆகும்னா it will stabilize. அந்த particular technology, if it is good enough, people would start utilizing it in masses. Otherwise, what happens? It will stabilize in a particular proper manner. For a path of enlightenment, one the plateau of productivity. On the time, wise entrepreneurs, they understand the market. If you have a product, உங்களுக்கு வந்து எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன் பீக்குக்கு போயிடுச்சு, ஒரு ஆப் வந்து மில்லியன்ஸ் ஆஃப் டவுன்லோட்ஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு, நல்லா பீக்குக்கு போயிட்டீங்க, அப்புறம் திடீர்னு கம்மியாக ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு அப்படின்னா a wise entrepreneur will always go and study the market and what's working and what's not working with this product. இப்போ நம்ம ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் ரிலீஸ் பண்ணியிருப்போம், எதனாலேயோ மக்கள் வந்து அதுலேருந்து வெளியில போறாங்க, டவுன்லோட் ரேட் குறையுது, அப்படிங்கிற பட்சத்தில் யூ ஷுட் கோ அஹெட் அண்ட் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் த மார்க்கெட் பெயின் பாயிண்ட்ஸ். அப்போதான் வந்து உங்களால ஃபர்தர் ரிலீசஸ்க்கு யூ வுட் பி ஏபிள் டு இன்க்ளூட் ஃபீச்சர்ஸ் விச் பீப்புள் டெஃபினெட்லி வாண்ட். இப்போ இன்ஸ்டாகிராம் எல்லாம் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வரும்போது இட் didn't have much. It didn't have reels, it didn't have your present day features. It only had filters, few filters. If you photo எடுக்கிறீங்க அதுல 10-15 filter பார்த்து you can just put it, that's all. அதே மாதிரி வாட்ஸ்அப்ல never had calls or never had pay features earlier when they released first. Immediately ஒரு hype இருந்துச்சு, அப்புறம் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா அந்த adoption கம்மியாகி people keep starting to use other platforms போது then you will have to innovate in your product offering. ஸோ அப்போ வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா you need to go through the market, understand what their pain points are, or understand what's not working for them. And if major people are feeling the same thing, then you'll have to improvise on your product. So that's where your path of enlightenment and plateau of productivity will come into picture. And once that, then your product sales will stabilize at a particular point of time. Because நிறைய பேருக்கு வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப ஓவர் ஹைப்ட் எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன்ஸ்ல வாங்கினவங்க they will any which ways move. They don't want to continue using the product. But people who found that, okay, this is working for me, they will continue using your product. And those are your exact customers that you need to target. So this hype cycle, வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எல்லா டெக்னாலஜிஸும் வந்து it will go through it and come back. Definitely it will go through it. So அதை வந்து நீங்க ட்ராக் பண்ணிட்டே இருந்தீங்கன்னா you will understand which are the technologies that are going to be available in the future and which are going to evolve in the future, and which are the technologies that are going to go away. ஓகேவா? ஸோ இதில் வந்து கார்ட்னர் ரிலீசஸ் எவ்ரி இயர் திஸ் ஹைப் சைக்கிள் எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன்ஸ் வெர்சஸ் டைம் கொடுப்பாங்க. அண்ட் ஆல் தீஸ் இன்னோவேஷன் ட்ரிக்கர், பீக் ஆஃப் இன்ஃப்ளேட்டட் expectation, trough of disillusionment, and then slope of enlightenment, plateau of productivity, எல்லாத்துக்குமே வரும். எல்லா டெக்னாலஜிஸ்க்குமே they will post this hype cycle. இது வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 2020க்கு எமர்ஜிங் டெக்னாலஜிஸ்க்கு. இஃப் யூ லுக் அட் இட், இப்போ இன்னோவேஷன் ட்ரிக்கர்ல லேட்டஸ்டா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா லோ காஸ்ட் சிங்கிள் போர்ட் கம்ப்யூட்டர்ஸ் அட் த எட்ஜ் அது இருக்கு. இதெல்லாம் வந்து இப்போதான் ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கு. லோ காஸ்ட் சிங்கிள் போர்ட் கம்ப்யூட்டர், தட் இஸ் சிஸ்டம் ஆன் சிப்னு ஆல்ரெடி ஒன்று வந்திருக்கு. பட் தென் சிங்கிள் போர்ட் கம்ப்யூட்டர்ஸ் கொண்டு வராங்க. ஏஐ அசிஸ்டட் டிசைன் இஸ் சம்திங் இன் த இன்னோவேஷன் ட்ரிக்கர் stage right now. That means already artificial intelligence can write articles, can do technical papers, and can talk to customers and all. Right now AI assisted design, I think it's coming up. The design aspects to it is coming up. Then DNA computing and storage is there. Self-supervised learning, adu varudhu. Ipo Google released a couple of years back an ML algorithm which can actually write codes all by itself, and then it can correct the bugs by itself without manual intervention. So probably that's what it's saying, self-supervised learning. It keeps learning and then it will behave on its own. Two-way brain-machine interface. So right now Neuralink is only one way. So far whatever it is, it's all one-way interface. So two-way brain-machine interface is coming. Health passport is another. Biodegradable sensors which can be utilized in your body, which you can pills shaped like cameras were there. Then you can actually swallow it, and then you can you can take pictures of your complete digestive tract. So that's biodegradable sensors that's coming up. Differential privacy. Differential privacy na ipo ஒருத்தருக்கு ஒவ்வொரு மாதிரி ஒரே ஃபேமிலில we already have kids க்கு தனியா, we already have பெரியவங்களுக்கு தனியா privacy setups மாத்திக்கிற மாதிரி we have it in television. But appsல அப்புறம் இதெல்லாம் வருது. Okay, differential privacy, it's coming. Even for the different rooms you can have setups, different setups. Private 5G is one. You already have one big mobile network, but then உங்களால வந்து மொபைல் நெட்வொர்க் கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ண முடியாது. But you can actually control your settings in the mobile phone. But then right now private 5G is coming up. I think it's going to be for your closed group. அதுக்குள்ள என்ன பண்ண முடியும்ங்கிறதா இருக்கும். Then social data is there, adaptive machine learning is there. So these are all in the innovation trigger stage. இப்போ in peak of inflated expectation பாத்தீங்கன்னா explainable AI, அப்புறம் கார்பன் பேஸ்டு டிரான்சிஸ்டர்ஸ், அப்புறம் இன்னொன்று வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சோஷியல் டிஸ்டன்சிங் டெக்னாலஜிஸ். இதெல்லாம் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரைட் நவ் இட்ஸ் அட் த பீக். எம்பெடட் ஏஐ டேட்டா ஃபேப்ரிக், ரைட் நவ் எம்பெடட் ஏஐ டேட்டா ஃபேப்ரிக் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இட்ஸ் யூஸ்ட் இன் கப்புள் ஆஃப் ஏரியாஸ். I'm not sure, maybe I'll pull in some examples so that I can show, and then it will give you a better idea. Secure access service edge no. So that is all in your data center part. So these are all like at the peak of inflated expectations at now. If a trough of disillusionments la enna vandirchu appdin pathina, if bring your own identity, carbon based transistors also is there in that trough of disillusionment. Ontologies and graphs. So idella vandu pathina already people have known about it, and people have started reducing their usage. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி இந்த ஹைப் சைக்கிள் வந்து if you continue to track it every year, Gartner keeps releasing it. So you need to go through it, and then you can understand a lot of technological innovations through this. So this is one of the most credible sources from which you can understand emerging technologies. So இதே மாதிரி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இது ஒரு same thing which I have zoomed in. This is for the AI part. Just to give you a good overview, I have zoomed in. இன்னொன்று இது வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இன்டர்நெட் ஆஃப் திங்ஸ் 2020 என்ன ஹைப் சைக்கிள் இருக்கு அப்படிங்கிறது. IoT இன்டெகிரேஷன்லாம் இப்போ ஆல்ரெடி people are doing everywhere. IoT integration has become a norm right now. So it is getting into the plateau of productivity. Managed IoT connectivity services is also like it's getting into the slope of enlightenment. Asset performance management, எந்த அளவுக்கு எந்தெந்த assets வந்து perform பண்ணுதுங்கிறது you are able to remotely monitor and get data. Autonomous vehicles is already in the trough of disillusionment stage, wherein people have already been experimenting a lot, and certain things are working, certain things are not working. So right now it's on its way to slope of enlightenment. So once it crosses the plateau of productivity, then mass market will follow and a lot of people will start buying it. And being already Ola and all is building a factory over there in Hosur for electric vehicles right now. So adala vandu ipo it's all coming into light. And autonomous vehicles already Tesla is trying it out in the West. Tesla has started it just registered its company in Mumbai and not Mumbai, Bangalore I think. So excuse me. So இந்த மாதிரி இதெல்லாம் வந்து ஐஓடியில் ஆல்ரெடி வந்துருச்சு. இப்போ டிஜிட்டல் ட்வின், ஈவென்ட் ஸ்ட்ரீம் ப்ராசஸிங் இதெல்லாம் வந்து ரஃப் ஆஃப் disillusionmentக்குள்ள வந்துருச்சு. ஈவென்ட் ஸ்ட்ரீம் ப்ராசஸிங் இட்ஸ் லைக் ரைட் நோ வாட் எவர் யூ கைஸ் ஆர் டூயிங், தட்ஸ் வாட் இட் இஸ். We are doing an event and it's already been streamed and the data is being captured. It's already crossed the peak of inflated expectation. ஓகேவா? ஸோ இப்போ ஐஓடியில் டிஜிட்டல் த்ரெட் இருக்கு, அப்புறம் இன்டோர் லொகேஷன் ஃபார் பீப்புள் ட்ராக்கிங், இதெல்லாம் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இட்ஸ் ஆல் இன் த பீக் ஆஃப் இன்ஃப்ளேட்டட் எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன்ஸ். So these are related to IoT. You can follow this considering the time frame. I'm just cutting it short. You can follow these hype cycles so that you will get a good idea. Okay. So once you have decided which technology solutions you will be pursuing, can you explain it in 1 minute? That's the other most important thing. ஒரே நிமிஷத்துக்குள்ள உங்களால சொல்ல முடியுமா? In order to communicate your idea clearly, you should be able to capture its value proposition in a few effective sentences. That's one of the most important things. So one-liner அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து one of the most important things. And in startup lingo, it could be elevator pitch. You should be able to clearly communicate within 1 minute, within 30 seconds. In fact, that's the most important thing. Okay, build your 1 minute pitch with this solid 3-sentence template. Probably you can get this slide later and you can actually use it for so and so who are dissatisfied with this product. Our product is a new category and then that provides these capabilities. Unlike the older one, our product describes so and so. If you pathina our an example I have written, just an example. Our product is for marketing teams in small retail chains that are dissatisfied with newspaper advertising. Our product improves revenue through greater reach. Unlike newspaper advertising, our products allow marketers to reach highly targeted customers first. So this is one of the well-defined 1 minute pitch. இது மாதிரி உங்களோட பர்டிகுலர் ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்கு உங்களோட கரண்ட் மார்க்கெட் சிச்சுவேஷன் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணி என்ன கேட்டகரியில் வருதுன்னு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணி என்ன ப்ராப்ளம் சால்வ் பண்ணுறோங்கிறது சொல்லிட்டீங்கன்னா இட் வில் பி அ வெரி குட் 1 minute pitch. ஓகேவா? அதுக்கப்புறமா வந்து ஒன்ஸ் யூ ஹாவ் ஐடியேட்டட் இட், யூ ஹாவ் ஃபவுண்ட் த ப்ராப்பர் சொல்யூஷன் ஃபார் அண்ட் தென் யூ ஹாவ் கம் அப் வித் 1 minute pitch. Do you have a tangible prototype which you could show and convince people? That's the next important thing. Once you know the problems for your customers, you know these problems are large enough and you have a solution with a clear value proposition. Next step is to build a prototype in order to run the experimentation. Why? It will help you communicate the idea better and gather first customer feedback. So இதுக்கு வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா உங்களோட இனிஷியல் ப்ரோட்டோடைப்பை டெவலப் பண்ணி கொண்டு போய் கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா தட் பீப்புள் வில் ஹூவர் நம்ம சொல்லணும் இல்லையா, அந்த கஸ்டமர் செக்மெண்ட் வந்து வி ஸ்போக் டு ரைட், இந்த ப்ராப்ளம் எங்களுக்கு இருக்கு, நீங்க பண்ணீங்கன்னா நாங்கள் ட்ரை பண்ணி பார்க்குறோம் அப்படின்னு சொன்ன கஸ்டமர்ஸ் கிட்ட நீங்கள் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கொடுத்து பார்க்கணும். கொடுத்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா then they will understand this and then they will let you know what worked for them, what doesn't work for them in this particular new product prototype. Lean Startup னு ஒரு book இருக்கு. Probably you guys should go ahead and read it. So that will give you a clear idea on how to prototype your product fast, experiment with the market fast, and then make iterations fast அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து அவங்க சொல்லியிருப்பாங்க with less time, effort, money. Okay, so probably you guys should go and read that. So there are plenty of different types of prototypes that you could test with customers, ranging from low to high fidelity. So it could just be a lot of low code or no code platforms are there. If you have an app develop pannom appadina, you don't have to go and code itself. On the platform ku poi you can just take a trial version, you can just build an app prototype or a mock POC mari pannita. You can go and show the people, tell them, I mean, this is what it is doing, and then ask them to try it out, and then get to know their feedback. So that's how you need to prototype it fast. So இது வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா it's just 3 tips for it. First ஒரு பேப்பர்ல வந்து you can just put a simple storyboard on how the click stream would be or how the customer journey map is going to be. Second step would be to go digital and design a live mockup, and then you can go ahead and pretend to run the service and manually perform it instead of automating, before automating. So that's how you do the prototyping part. As I told you, there are hundreds of low and no code mobile app development tools. இப்போ பாத்தீங்கன்னா Appcelerator, OutSystems, App Builder இருக்கு, Kony இருக்கு, then iFactor இருக்கு, then you have this App Machine, Squid is there, AppyPie is there. So all these things you can actually use in order to build your app. Just an example, இது மாதிரி உங்களோட particular product என்னவோ அதுல வந்து என்ன lowest costல நீங்க என்ன பண்ண முடியுமோ அதை வந்து you should be able to go ahead and do it. So that's the whole point of it. அப்புறம் customers கிட்ட காமிக்கணும். Customers கிட்ட காமிச்சிட்டு you need to get the feedback. Prototypes are made for sole reason to be shared and shown to the customers in order to gather feedback and improve the product or service. And since you have a prototype, you can show it. Why not show it? Just go ahead and talk to them. While showing prototypes and conducting solution interviews, you will learn whether the solution that you have in mind is something that would be used by the customers. Customers will provide a lot of valuable insights into how you could change the prototype to make it better. And the mari you need to show and tell. Kaamichada வந்து they will be able to understand. And the prototype and the platforms use பண்ணி you can build it, and then you can go and show them. Show பண்ணீங்கன்னா அவங்க யூஸ் பண்ணி பார்க்கணும். அவங்க யூஸ் பண்ணி பார்த்தா தான் வந்து உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். So this image on the left is one of the user experience survey on how a particular user is able to navigate through an app, and it's been captured. So you can, if you have the budgets, you can try out using tools. Otherwise you can just manually sit with them and then see how they are doing, and you will be able to understand. So now once you have the prototype and once you have taken the feedback, you need to monetize the particular app or the product. Okay, total addressable market வந்து பார்த்துட்டு அதுக்கப்புறமா you need to have to go ahead and do it. So if you can show me, இப்போ Bill Gates வந்து சொன்னேன்னா, if you can show me the business case, it's already too late, because already people are somewhere people are doing it. That's what it means. For innovation projects, there are more assumptions in your business than certain it is. You would have assumed a few things. இப்படி இருக்கும் இப்படி தான் கஸ்டமர் பிஹேவ் பண்ணுவாங்க நீங்க assume பண்ணிருப்பீங்க, but there could be a lot of uncertainties too. That's the reason that it's advisable to use ballpark figures, a rough numerical estimate, which help us to support our arguments and show the potential value in the projects. So this is primarily from an investor standpoint. When you're going and pitching it to your investor, this becomes very, very clear. You need to have your assumptions, and then your numbers should be based on the assumptions. Okay. One of the most important things is your market size estimation. If a total India pan India ko enoda product work out agum appadina, it will not, it's not a correct way of expressing it. As I already told you, potential addressable market ivlo irukku. India la irukra customers na target panna porangadhu potential addressable market. Total addressable market or total available market அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இப்போ கர்நாடகா தமிழ்நாடு மட்டும் நான் ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ண போறேன் அப்படின்னா தட்ஸ் அ டோட்டல் அவைலபிள் மார்க்கெட். கர்நாடகா தமிழ்நாட்டில் எவ்வளோ பேர் 20 to 30 year ஏஜ்ல இருக்காங்கிறது. Then serviceable available market. Only in tier 1 cities in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka is your serviceable available market. Because you might not have initial stages, you might not have your your workforce. So tier cities la mattum da naanga pannuvom ippodikku appdin sonna serviceable available market. So அது வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா serviceable and uptable market or share of market. இந்த tier 1 cities ல எங்களால இவ்வளோ கேப்சர் பண்ண முடியும். 1 2 3 4 ஆல்டர்னேட்டிவ் ப்ராடக்ட்ஸ் இருக்கு காம்படிட்டர்ஸ் கிட்ட இருந்து. நாங்க 5th ப்ராடக்டா இருக்கோம். இவங்க 4 பேரும் இவ்வளோ மார்க்கெட் ஷேர் வச்சிருக்காங்க, நாங்க இவ்வளோ பண்ண முடியும் அப்படிங்கறத வந்து யூ நீட் டு கிளியர்லி டிஃபைன். திஸ் வில் ஒன்லி கெட் யூ investor confidence. So this will help you actually propagate through the market very efficiently. So this will give you a very clear picture, as well as the investors will also have the good confidence to take up your or invest in your product. So இது வந்து ஒரு example. I'll just skip it in considering the time. Another important thing that you can, another credible source when it comes to Indian landscape is your Indian Brand Equity Foundation. So you can note down the site ID ibef.org. It's there on the left. So இது என்ன பண்ணுதுன்னா, it gives information on all the possible sectors. நீங்க வந்து நிறைய விஷயம் பண்ணிருக்கலாம், ஆனா இந்தியால அட் பிரசன்ட் எந்த லெவலுக்கு எந்த டெக்னாலஜி யூட்டிலைஸ் பண்றாங்கிறதெல்லாம் வந்து இதுல போட்டு வச்சிருப்பாங்க. திஸ் இஸ் primarily for people investing from outside India. So this is primarily for that. Just a minute. Okay. So this is one of the most credible resources which you can go through, ibef.org, because this is not specific to India, but it's for outside investors who wants to come and invest in various sectors in India. So the data is fairly accurate. Just to show you, industries, more than 30 industries they have painfully consolidated information on. And if agriculture, auto components, automobile, cement, banking, aviation, all of this they have consolidated and they have put up all the leading players related information. There are a lot of lot of details on government schemes. Council available, what are all the schemes that are available for entrepreneurs coming and doing stuff in that particular sector, and the details are available. So you can go through it. It's a good portal for you to understand the latest things that's happening in particular sectors. This is the same thing. See, government initiatives, it is saying investment government initiatives evlo, what are all happening inside அப்படிங்கிறதெல்லாம் வந்து போட்டிருக்காங்க. So we have come to the end of it. Before going ahead and choosing technology எடுத்து நம்ம பண்ண போறோங்கிறது, it's just 1/10 of the whole story. Okay, customer segment, clear problem identification, talking to stakeholders, அப்புறமா வந்து அது உண்மையாலுமே worth-ஆன ப்ராப்ளம் தானான்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறது, list of ideas to solve the same problem, and the brainstorming, analyzing of existing alternatives in the market, அப்புறமா வந்து is it simple or executable-ங்கிறத வந்து செக் பண்றது, prototyping, அந்த prototype மேல இருக்கிற feedback, then your total addressable market size என்னங்கிறது கண்டுபிடிக்கிறது. So these are all the 10 steps that you need to go through before you just pick up any technology and execute it. Just don't do it. Before that, you go through the whole steps and you will be in a much better position, and you will be well informed in order to proceed with that particular technology. எனக்கும் தெரிஞ்சிருக்கு, நான் வந்து சர்டிஃபிகேஷன் வாங்கிட்டேன், டேட்டா சயின்ஸ் கோர்ஸ்ல சர்டிஃபிகேஷன் வாங்கிட்டேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு டைரக்டா போய் ஆரம்பிக்காம, you should think through it and then decide on it. உங்களுக்கு வந்து மார்க்கெட் பத்தி தெரிஞ்சுட்டு, கஸ்டமர் பத்தி தெரிஞ்சுட்டு, அதுக்கப்புறமா இன்வெஸ்டர்ஸ் பத்தி தெரிஞ்சுட்டு, அதுக்கப்புறமா you'll have to do it. So that's all it is. ஒரு எக்ஸ்ட்ரா டிப் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, do you know what you need from the person or organization you are pitching to? That's the extra tip. Before you go to pitch your solution to your manager or your sponsor or your investor, make sure that you know what you need from them. இப்போ அவங்களுக்கு வந்து இப்போ அந்த இன்வெஸ்டர் வந்து அந்த பர்டிகுலர் செக்டர்ல இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்றாரா, நீங்க ஒர்க் பண்ற கம்பெனில அந்த பர்டிகுலர் ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்கு வந்து தேவை இருக்கா இல்லையாங்கிறத ஃபர்ஸ்ட் யூ நீட் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட். இஃப் தெர் இஸ் நோ நீட் தென் ஈவன் நீங்க ஒரு 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 டாப் மோஸ்ட் ப்ராடக்ட் போய் பிச் பண்ணாலும் தே வில் நாட் அக்ரி டு இட். ஓகே, அது வந்து பட்ஜெட் கன்ஸ்ட்ரெயின்ஸா, இல்ல இஸ் இட் பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் த டைமா, இல்ல இஸ் இட் பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் த மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் டெசிஷனா, எதுவா இருக்குங்கிறது வந்து கண்டிப்பா தெரிஞ்சுட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் பண்ணுங்க. கம்யூனிகேட் வாட் யூ நீட் ஃப்ரம் them and let them know what will be done or achieved through these resources. So that's when it would be helpful for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Can you have a Q&A session, sir, now?
Sorry?
Q&A session, sir. Question and answer session.
Sure.
So can you say what's your favorite book, sir?
Favorite?
Book.
There was this book called Business Sutra. That was one of my favorite books. I have a few more, but then right now I don't remember. You should have given me this questionnaire earlier.
That's great. And there are many product-based companies, sir. Like, why do many product-based companies also try to provide services?
Yeah, so products and services are like interchangeable. So whenever you have a product, right, you need to have a post-sale service for that. If I understand your question right, there is no such thing as a hardcore product-based company unless it's an app-based company, and even for the apps there are services. Okay, and there are follow-on services that they need to give. So did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you answered.
Yeah.
And what advice can you give to the recent college graduate students?
See, right now, the situation is very grim, and people are all going through COVID. And yeah, of course, the market looks pretty bad, but it's not that bad. And gig economy is picking up. When I mean gig economy, a lot of people are right now starting to freelance. They are making money from home. You should go and start exploring such platforms wherein you can be part of and you can also contribute. You can start working. Right now it's all online education, right? So you can actually learn at your convenience, and you can also start making good amount of money from
It's a great
the
idea, sir.
time you have. Don't waste your time on watching movies and binge watching Netflix and all. Of course you can have it, but just keep it to the minimal extent possible, and invest in yourself. Learn a lot. You have n number of resources in YouTube available for free. You can learn any technology. You can even learn medicine right now. You can even learn brain surgery. Anything can be learned using YouTube. You just need to know how to effectively use it. So use it properly and invest in yourself. Upgrade your knowledge. Use this time wisely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mohammed Rafi, student, is asking, who is your inspiration?
Okay, in India, if you ask me, that would be Ratan Tata and Narayan Murthy, NRN Narayan Murthy. Globally, obviously, it's Elon Musk.
Oh, great, sir, great people. Wonderful taste. And another person, Abhirami Shekhar, is asking, like, is artificial intelligence and advanced technologies are really needed for today's innovations?
See, it helps you with a lot of things. It saves time. You have autofill feature in your email. You have suggestions in your WhatsApp. So those are all helping you type faster, right?
Yes, sir. Really.
So definitely it helps save a lot of time for people. So that's exactly the whole point of artificial intelligence. As long as it's able to augment what we are doing or help us out, that's good.
And another question, so thank you for that.
Mhm.
Another student's question was like, as a student entrepreneur, he has an idea. He's looking for an investor or a team member for him. So is it safe for him to say idea to all the people?
It's safe for them. So can you repeat that? Sorry.
Is it safe to say the idea of their business to the investor or co-founders, like that, searching in co-founders?
Yeah, it is definitely safe. See, investors every day are hearing hundreds of pitches, and it's very unlikely that they would go and execute what you want to execute. The ideas are dime a dozen. Any idea that you have, 10 more people might have the same idea. It's not the idea that matters; it's the execution that matters. So people might not have the same conviction or determination to execute what you are executing. So you should go ahead and pursue it. And there is nothing wrong in providing your insights to the angel investors, unless you have a highly patented technology and you don't want to disclose anything. Just keep that aside and show the application part that should do. Any which ways, investors are not interested in understanding your core technology.
Okay. Hope it helps the students, sir. And
Excuse me. Yeah.
that's fine. So, how to find investors after having an idea?
Yeah, so there are a lot of forums in which you can reach out to them. AngelList is one, angel.co. Then there are these groups which you can reach out to, like Startup Leadership Program is one. And then Startup Grind is another, which you guys are already running. So already there are a lot of investors part of such groups. And people can reach out to them and then be part of it. The Indus Entrepreneurs is there, Thai group is there, no? Thai Coimbatore, Thai Bangalore and all this. And even in colleges and all, you have these incubation centers. You can go and reach out to them, and they would be more than happy to connect you with potential investors. But before that, go prepared. Make sure that you have a credible product that they would want to invest in. Yeah.
Thank you for that, sir. And Abhirami Shekhar is asking, for startup to become a sustainable company, what are the factors to be considered?
So in order to become a sustainable company, you need to have good positive cash flow. That's the most important thing. Then you need to have paying customers. For you to get cash flow, you need to have paying customers, right? So for that, you need to actually solve their problem. Then only they would be able to pay for it, right? They would want to pay and then take your solution. So these are some of the aspects to become a sustainable company. And you need to have a very good team at the first place. The team who can manage your infrastructure, your technology part, and your operations part. So that's one of the most important things. The team comes first and everything else comes next.
Thank you so much for that, sir. What unseen opportunities did you see that many startups resulting in huge success? What are the
No, your
opportunities?
voice is cracking. What?
Sorry, sir. Am I audible now, sir?
Yeah. Tell me.
Yes, sir. So there will be many ideas to many people, sir, and we'll be getting many opportunities also. So what is the opportunity in your perspective? No one have ever said to people or the students to make use of that.
See, that actually depends on what that particular person, whoever asked that question, wants, and which kind of sector he is focusing on. Say, for example, if we take space as a sector in which we are in, excuse me. So right now we are building cities on Mars. We are making human life sustainable over there. So your food, clothing, shelter, everything is a problem over there. So if you come up with a credible solution, people will be more than willing to take it up. So it depends on which sector we are focusing on. It depends on that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for being a part of this event in your busy schedule.
Sure.
It's an honor to have you here.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for you guys listening to me. And I think it took 1.5 hours of time. So thanks for patiently listening to me. And I wish you guys all the best. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Suresh.
Again, a small reminder for all the students, like post your attendance, it will be in the comments and it will be being tracked. Next, I will please welcome Swati Rohit speaker. Good afternoon, ma'am. We are honored to have you. Pleased to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Here's a small video for you, ma'am.
We are happy to welcome Swati Rohit, founder and CEO of Health Basics. She is going to speak on the topic Entrepreneur as My Career. Once again, we welcome you, ma'am.
Once again, welcome, ma'am.
Hi, thank you so much. That was lovely.
And here you go, ma'am. You can start your.
Sure. So, hi, I'm Swati Rohit, and I thought I'll give you a little bit of a background on me. I'm 42. I'm a mechanical engineer by education. I live and work in Coimbatore. I've had 5 years of experience in textiles. So when I came out of my mechanical degree, there's a little bit of reason why I'm actually talking about my background. So you can kind of see, how I connected the dots, and today what I do, how relevant it is. So when I came out of my mechanical engineering degree, and I worked in textile production for 5 years in fabric division, very boring stuff, not in fashion or anything like that. So, that's when I realized, after studying mechanical engineering for 4 years, I don't really like doing production, mechanical or manufacturing related stuff. So I had this opportunity to then switch to a trust hospital and education. So what I did is I became the COO of a 1,000-bed hospital and 17 educational institutions. So when I say COO, what did I actually do there? I took the balance sheets. They had separate balance sheets, all organizations. So what I did is I merged all of them, hired out roles, and organized this. But still, after working for 20 years, I still had, from day one when I got into a job or work, I always wanted to do something on my own. And I'm being honest when I say I had no idea what I wanted to do. All I knew is I wanted to build a really large brand, with good social impact, and a countrywide brand, or even a worldwide brand. But I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. So I turned 40 two years ago, and that's when I decided, listen, I have to. This is it. I'm quitting my job that pays me well, fancy office, and I'm going to go out there on my own. And surprisingly, I honestly did think my family would be very supportive, but they weren't. So they thought that I'll fail and I'll come back. So you might ask me what my first venture was. My first venture was because I was in fabrics and I understood fabrics, and I ran these educational institutions. So now you see the connect of the dots, right? So then I decided that let me do supplies, education supplies to schools and colleges. So started off with just 2 schools. We couldn't do much. I had one co-founder. That's it, just the 2 of us. And honestly speaking, zero capital. So we decided to put some of my own money in there and run it for however long I could. We said, okay, let's see how first season goes, and then we should probably decide on how we're going to do. So first season came to schools. We worked really hard. We honestly didn't know what would work, what didn't work. So from my learning in that first job, or rather my stint at entrepreneurship, what did I learn? So the first thing I learned was that you need some expertise in what you're going to start. So I urge everybody, although everybody keeps saying, right out of college, try entrepreneurship. It's actually very difficult, because coming out of college first is maybe very few kids, maybe, you guys in college and women know what you want exactly, but very few of us actually come out knowing, what for the rest of my life, I want to do this, or I want this, I know generally I want to do finance, generally I want to do production, generally I like, IT services or something. But specifically, if very few kids out of college, unless you've done some really good project that you can take to the next level, I don't advise anyone to jump into entrepreneurship. I advise you guys, if you have an area of interest, find an organization that's really doing well, work there at least for 2 years, and try and figure out what part of that enterprise you actually understand well enough to start something in. Because very often you'll say, a lot of people say, oh my God, I love, I love milkshakes, so let me start a company, that just has milkshakes. It's really doesn't work that way. You don't understand all the back end trouble that one has to go through, and the experience that you need to actually figure out, how you can do that milkshake brand better than what is already being done, or how you can do it differently, so that, if tomorrow if you're raising funding, that becomes very important. So if you just go and say milkshakes are doing very well, this is the market of, this many billion dollars a year or whatever, and I'm going to make milkshakes too, nobody is going to fund you. Why? Because they want to see what's special about what you're building. Sure, anyone can do making milkshakes, right? So you have to have that special element that says, listen, I have a robot that makes this, so it cuts out this many number of hours, something like that. You have to have that special ingredient. You should do it differently from somebody else. Otherwise, it's really tough to get it funded or to go forward and find that special this thing. So that's why I was saying, do something, at least work for 2 years in an organization, pick an area that interests you, and then start something. And second thing is, when you're starting something, I strongly urge you to find a co-founder. The first startup I did called School Basics, I didn't have a co-founder, and I cannot tell you how difficult it was. It was one of the most traumatic times in my life. I had many sleepless nights. I had, so many different things that came at me. But what really kept me going, or really waking up every day and saying, that's my personality. So no matter how difficult yesterday was, I'll just leave that, wake up in the morning, brand new day, and then I come back and give it my 100%. So, but it was very difficult. So I really urge you to get a co-founder. That will really make a big difference. And second thing is very important is, today, everywhere you hear, you're like unicorn, Swiggy is a unicorn, and Byju's, all of this. You hear many names, right? So everybody keeps saying constantly, when I meet them, they're like, oh, we're building a unicorn, we're going to be $1 billion company. So always remember, if you're picking something and saying, I want to build a unicorn, make sure that market size is large enough. So if the market size is 100 billion and you say you'll be $1 billion, that makes sense. But if you say the market size is only 1 billion and I'm going to get all 100% of that market, I think, we'll be fooling ourselves in that. So pay attention and see, if you really want to build a large company, then pick a market size that's very large. But if you want to be niche and small, that's also great. So then you can, play in a smaller market size area. And second thing was, I think in the earlier speech, somebody was asking about sharing ideas with somebody, and finding a co-founder. Will someone steal it? So constantly what happens is, people think of ideas. We have lots of self-doubt, whether will this work? Must I do some research? You can do a little bit of research, and honestly speaking, just put down in a piece of paper where you want to be in 10 years, where you want to be in 5 years, what is it that you really want to do. I think that's fairly sufficient. And how you're going to get through that first year, do you have enough money to do that, right? So that's enough. And don't go out there and ask for advice from 100 people. Advice is free. Everybody will say 10 different things. Finally, you'll be so confused, you won't start what you actually set out to do. So just get on with it. Don't ask too many people, just go out there. But also, when you're finding your co-founder, you can talk about your ideas to people who will give you valuable advice, or you're looking for a co-founder. And as our previous speaker was saying, don't worry, even if I gave you everything I did written on a piece of paper, step by step, you're different. Everybody is different. So, the passion that you feel towards that project and how you execute will be very different from somebody else. So don't worry about it. Nobody's going to steal your idea. And, even if they do, you thought of it first. So you have an early edge on that, and you'll get there before they do. So don't worry about it too much. And also, pricing strategy also becomes important if you're selling a product or a service, right? You charge too much, then you'll get very few people who will pay. You charge too low, then at the end of the day, enough money to sustain yourself, right? So really pay attention. We did a lot of work on pricing strategy before we did anything else. Let me talk a little bit about the fundraise aspect, right? So today, it's really like entering the lottery. It's very difficult to get attention from venture capitalists. I'm sure all of you, when you go out there to raise capital, will understand. So of course, you want to raise either a seed or a pre-series before you go, before you actually make it big. So what do you really do? So how do you get the attention of these VCs? It's not about just going, one thing everybody fails to understand until you actually enter this market is that VC funds are very specific in what they do. Some of them invest in education, some of them invest in consumer, some of them invest in internet first brands. So you have to actually see what kind of companies they've invested in. So if they're only investing in AI companies and you're going there with a milkshake idea, they're definitely not going to look at you or give you the time of day, and it'll be a waste of your time also. So do your homework and know if that bunch of people are actually interested, even if you're going to an angel, right? You can see an angel list and a whole bunch of others, Traction. You can see what kind of companies before have they invested in. And I firmly urge you to do your homework and only go to people who actually have done investment in a similar space or have interest. Otherwise, you'd be wasting your time, because how VC funds work is they already have a thesis about something. So, and if you come with a new idea, very rarely, VC will get very excited unless he sees, humongous potential and you're radically different from everybody else. So I urge you to actually look at it and say, listen, what are we doing here? And and go to the right VC. Otherwise, you'll really be wasting your time. And are you solving, in a unique way? And another really important thing is you have to decide where you want your capital. Are you going to finance it with taking a loan? Are you going to get venture capital funding? Typically, because this is a startup, we're all looking at venture capital funding. And, one of the things that they really focus on is your model able to scale without, for example, if I had to go and actually visit every single client and grow one by one ad, rather if I could go and I had an internet first brand that could reach, thousands of clients. I think VCs tend to fund, things that actually reach people much easier than going from one to the other. It's called the concept of linearity. So that's another thing I really urge you guys to solve for, and look at your business and see how is it you're going to attract customers to your thing. And if you are, and if your idea is going from one agency to the other, or one enterprise to the other, then it's a much slower way of doing things. So that tends to actually not excite VCs so much. And this is a little bit about my VC experience. So I just raised a seed round. I launched a new startup in the healthcare space recently, in pediatric healthcare. So what we do is we actually we take children's data and health data and help parents actually make decisions based on their child's data. Say, their child is obese, their child actually has anxiety issues, then we connect them to doctors and resources and pediatric specialists. So now you see the connect. Because I ran the hospital, I was able to also do this. And I hope that gave you some understanding of where to start and how to really get started. But happy to take any questions, Magar, if you guys have any.
Yes, ma'am. We have a lot of questions actually.
Great.
What's your favorite book, ma'am?
My favorite book, good question. So I'm one of these really horrible people who only reads like tech journals, and so I rarely ever take a book. My husband and son read a lot. They read a book a day, and I hardly read. So please don't take me as an example, sir.
That's cool, ma'am. So you started your journey as an entrepreneur, resigning a job, as you told. So what would you suggest to the recent graduate students from the college? Either job or entrepreneurship? What do you suggest?
Job for 2 years, and in that 2 years you have to find what really excites you enough to put up with all the pain of being an entrepreneur. It's a very painful journey, so I have to tell you. And if you're not going to sign up, and no day is easy, so every day you have to wake up and tell yourselves, today there'll be 100 obstacles and I'm going to clear all of them. If you think one day you're going to wake up and have like this beautiful perfect day, it never happens in entrepreneurship. I'm just telling you that ahead. So don't think that it has good days. Most of the days are bad, and then the one good account you land or something makes all of that worth it in the end.
Yes, absolutely, I agree with you. So as you choose an entrepreneurial lifestyle, what made you to choose that?
what made me to choose entrepreneurial lifestyle? I've actually always been a very self-motivated and driven person, and I actually like things the way I like things, and to build some organization has always been my dream. So build a world-class organization, build a large brand. So I was born with it, honestly speaking. So and it took me a while to get there, but I'm very happy I did it.
And one of the student, Mohammed Rafi's asked me like, how could you face the struggles, ma'am?
Yeah, it's really difficult. So I'm not going to lie and say, like I was so brave, every day I could easily do it. And I know lots of really well-established entrepreneurs. A lot of them are my personal friends who actually built unicorns, and everybody has bad days, but have a hobby or that one thing that even if it's watching Netflix, doesn't matter, for half an hour, if that makes you you're mentally a little better frame of mind, find that one thing, find a hobby that you can actually lean on when things are not going well, so that you can clear your mind, and never feel bad to ask for help. What I did is, I constantly used to talk about it, even to my 15-year-old son. So I constantly tell him, listen, I'm having these troubles. Sometimes talking about it makes it easier. And don't feel bad to ask for help. Always ask for help.
Yeah, ma'am, that's true. Actually, entrepreneurship is a very struggles journey. A lot of struggles, many failures. Mostly failures only will be happening than the success.
Agreed.
But it takes a lot of courage to be there and sustain there.
Agreed. So
Yes, ma'am. And the next is why while we are trying to build a brand means we can't do alone it. We'll be having idea of alone, but we can't build a brand and all the capitals alone. So we need to have some team members, and finding the team members will be the worst failure job ever I have seen. So how did you find your co-founders, and how did you find your teammates and everything?
So I'd first say, before you want to find a co-founder, you have an idea, right? Say, for example, the milkshake brand. Let's just take that because it's simple, right? So that somebody has to buy the products, right? Before you set up, then one person has to work on customers, how to get customers. So you have to figure out what will grow your firm. So if you say there are 3 different things that you really have to focus on to grow your firm, then you should find other co-founders who have expertise in those other 2 areas. So if you look like that, it's a lot easier. Suppose you find a co-founder which both of you can only do online, and you can't do the procurement, you can't do this, then it's going to be really difficult. So you should find people with complementary skills, not the similar skills, because then it'll be a double. Both of you only have the same skill set. So make sure that if there are other avenues for growth, hire or rather find a co-founder who is good at that. So then you won't have so many clashes. You have your expertise, they will have their expertise. So.
Yes, ma'am. We always need to have the expertise in everything. And coming to other, like, what type of work culture do you have, ma'am, in your company?
In our firm, we're actually, I'm like the oldest. Everybody else who works with me in their 20s, early 20s. So I'm the only one who turns up to work early at 9 a.m. So all of them only roll in at 11:30. That took me a lot to get used to. But as I said, we're not somebody who insists at work culture. I don't say you have to put in 8 hours of work or anything. As long as you get your work done, that's all that matters at the firm I work in. And I come from that belief that as long as the work gets done, I don't really bother where you did it and how you did it. So, and if you can't do it, another thing is, we always, from day one, I tell them, if you didn't do it or can't do it, don't lie about it. Just say, I couldn't do it. It's so much easier to deal with. So that's the second thing I have no tolerance for is, like hiding things and last minute saying, what, this didn't get fixed or something like that. So.
I think you have a great leadership qualities to sustain all the people, ma'am.
Thank you.
And while you have the idea of entrepreneurship and leaving the job, has it affected your family life, ma'am?
So, every time you'll hear for women, especially work-life balance, work-life balance. I think whoever says there's work-life balance is lying. There's either work or there's a life. You can't have both. And let's be honest about that. And it's okay. I mean, my family is very understanding. So first thing is you have to also have a understanding spouse or boyfriend, or, or if it's a guy, then you better have an understanding girlfriend who understands you'll not pick up her call even after 10 times of messaging. So make sure that the things are okay on the back end, and then you do this. Otherwise, if you're not with the right partner, it will be miserable. So my husband was very supportive. So it was easy for me to do this because I have an older child and I had a husband, but I work all the time. So, and I have no social life now. Earlier I used to have a social life. Now no more.
Oh my God, that's a great journey actually. And as you said that you started with the capital zero and with your own money investment. And so how did you raise fundings in further?
Right. So my first startup that I did, right, School Basics, I actually failed at it. So I'm being honest when I say that I couldn't raise capital. And that's where I learned all these points that I was telling you guys about how the venture capital system works. What are the types of things they will actually fund? Otherwise, you have to build a sustainable company. So I actually exited to my COO, my CEO, and I have a new CEO there as well. And they run it as a sustainable company that makes money on every single transaction. Earlier, we were building the company for venture capital funding and growing really large. So now we've had to cut back on our on our thought process and say, all right, we're going to stay small and grow slower. So that was a big decision to make, but only because we couldn't raise capital. And in my second stint, when I left that School Basics and started my healthcare venture, I was able to raise seed within 1 month of us launching the company. Reason being, I actually understood how to do it right this time. So, and what it took to raise capital.
As I see your struggles, and now I feel like it worth that life. The decision you took, now it's worth it. And
Completely worth it.
yes, ma'am. And one of the student named Abhirami Shekhar is asking, like, as a passionate student, how to manage between study and also the startup works, that too without family support. Say some learning experience from your life.
Right. So I actually think students, you can volunteer for work and some things, but largely I think focus on your studies. I'm being honest. So finish your 4th year and then focus on and while you're working you can find other avenues. But I know there are internships and all that, but it's very distracting, honestly. So I would urge that you get the good grades, because when people are hiring, or even as a startup founder, right? Even if you go to a venture capitalist, having good grades matters. Coming from a good college matters in that beginning thing, right? First, if you have 1,000 people, you have to use some criteria to pick them, right? So this criteria often comes up. So I urge you guys to put all your energy into actual studying, because unless you are building something on your own which you can continue, it wouldn't really matter much.
Passionate is all the as you said. Now what I feel is passion should be there and the studies should be the backup option.
Yes.
And another student, German Joe, is asking, like, when we started a startup, people's help first, but they backfire us. If we encounter such situation, how should I overcome it?
So I didn't understand. They backfire it when?
The people will help first
Yes.
at the starting of age, but no one can tolerate growing apart from them.
You're saying when you do better than them.
Yeah,
right?
yes, ma'am.
So different stages in your life, right? You will actually have to make different sets of people you can actually get advice from. And I say this because unless they are bigger and better than you, you will not think the same way. For me, I actually hang out, and the reason I am so driven every day when I wake up is because the people I interact with are world-class people, and I make it like that so that even my ambition is so high. So at the end of the day, yes, I had the same problem. Like when I started out, I was hanging out with the local startup ecosystem and all that, but very soon you outgrow it, and you have to either be focused on what for you, it's your baby, it's your startup that has to come first. So put that first, put all the people behind and keep moving. Don't pay attention, but you always have to think a couple of steps ahead and actually make that effort to have people of that caliber and start interacting with them so that your ideas get better. And so when you reach there, then you go to the next level. So really, that's how it works. And I urge all of you to make some really high level contacts. So you start thinking like them and you start, looking at the world through that kind of vision.
Yeah. Yes. And how many hours a day you do work now?
I know. Until I sleep, I don't stop working. So possibly 12, 14 hours minimum. So, and I
I
work
was 14
Sundays. But that's only because my startup is just 1.5 months. We just raised capital, so everything is just going through, and it's we're first launching our product. Our app just hit the Google Play Store, so the beta version. So that's why we've been super busy. But normally, everybody I know who at least if I the Ola Bhavish, like Sachin, all of these guys, they don't take any time off. They take maybe a week and a half in the whole year as holidays.
Can you please share that app name?
Yeah, it's called Health Basics, HEALTH, Health, and BASIX. Yeah,
Sure.
Health Basics.
And being a woman, there will be more challenges compared to the man in life. So what are the challenges you faced?
For me, the problem is when you come back home from work, right? Life doesn't stop. The husband will want something, child will want something, like your help will want something. So until I actually hit the bed, I'm constantly having to be on. So that's why I was urging you guys to find something to do that you enjoy just by yourself, so that all these people are not troubling you. So I actually like to work out a lot. So I weight train. So that 1 hour I don't take calls. I switch off everything. Don't answer anybody. So
for working these many hours and doing such many great things, what motivates you, ma'am?
As I said, I'm self-motivated and I actually draw energy from people. So I was telling you, right? So I make friends, I make, the attempt to know people who are super driven. And from that, I really get energy. So energized by seeing how hardworking they are and what they're doing and how their vision is, right? For the world and for themselves. So for me, I get all my inspiration from the people I hang out with, and constantly, I also read, I was telling you, a lot of journals, right? So I read a lot of these startup, so it's always nice to see. So, and so I get complete inspiration from the people around me.
Yes. And what is your opinion on this COVID fundraising?
COVID fundraising, yeah. I think all of us should pitch in and do something with our limited means, right? So help at least the people around you. And I think the number one awareness that all of us can spread is, as soon as the vaccines hit, make sure that everybody goes out and takes the vaccine, and little things like that go a long way. So if you can convince 10 people and those 10 people convince 10 other people to do it, and or if you can just take care of the 10 people around you and see how all of you can pull together and either buy one concentrator for 10 households. I think everybody should pitch in right now, because I don't think we're going to get through this just by taking care of myself or yourself. So
Yes, ma'am, that's true actually. And so if you had a chance in your life, like you start your career once again, so what would you do differently?
Oh, that's a good one. So honestly, I don't think I'd change much. I wish I had all this, all this gyan from, the first startup when I started the first startup, and that's pretty much all I'll change. So I am who I am because of all my experiences. So therefore, I wouldn't really except I do a few things differently. That's it. So I wish I had this knowledge before. That's all.
Knowledge is always important for doing anything like. And another student is asking like, ma'am, please recommend some books that made you feel that reading the books had an impact in your startup life and your attitude.
Sure. I actually, as I told you, I'm very different. I actually don't read too many self-help books or any of these things like no 7 effective habits of successful, none of that. So I actually like reading like Inc. 42. I like reading your story. I genuinely like to look at how people have built that startup, right? Like, what do they actually do? I like to read in detail and see how they got their first 100 customers. From each story, right? You learn so much, and if you can connect some dots and take that to your business, I say nothing like it. So for me, I actually like doing that. I like knowing about different businesses, how they work, how do these people set it up, and who are the key people in that. So I actually go into detail and actually read through a lot of the startup stories. So for me, that works, and nothing better to learn from people who've done it before you. So
Wow. I really don't have any words to even express also how that's feeling. And I really feel motivated and inspired by your stories, ma'am.
thank you.
Personally, I feel that.
Thank you.
And suppose if your life was totally written into a book by yourself, and what would you name it?
I would name it, I think, One Day in the Crazy Life of Swati.
That's the weirdest.
But yeah, so honestly, I think nothing comes easy. Everybody works hard for everything. So
And thank you so much for being here. Even your work for 14 days, you need some rest. Even though you have spare time for us and inspired many students and shared some insights for the students and many people. Thank you so much, ma'am. We're really honored to have you here.
thank you guys, and stay safe, and hope all of you become, or do whatever you want in your life and achieve all of your goals and dreams. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much, all the students and all the college management. I really wanted to thank again the Stella Maris College of Engineering and the most supportive person, the principal ma'am, who took initiative for the students, who are encouraging all the students for the startup entrepreneurship and everything. And Startup Grind, who is being a long partner of ecosystem, and Nehru DBI, who is also helped in design thinking and idea generations, and Satya sir for Nehru DBI, and Satya sir of Sociogoness Settlement Table, and Adesh Labs people for design thinking. And I also want to thank Startup Culture team, Rahul sir, and who's been always supportive from the start. I also want to thank Suresh sir. Can we have some words of you, sir?
Yeah, very good afternoon to one and all present in this series. I'm very thankful for everyone, Startup Culture, Engineer Rahul, and particularly Magar Prananthi, who was doing a wonderful job. Just I'm looking from yesterday morning. Then you are making us not to be idle and engaging right from 9:30 to 1 or 1:30. I'm very happy that even I also learned at this age also, I learned many things from you all, and how to go ahead for the startup. And I think I just want to introduce this concept to my students, also not only from Stella Maris, particularly for Stella Maris, and also the student community around. So I think this program would have given the basics of startup entrepreneurship and how to go to the next step, right? So really, I'm very much thankful, and also I'm very much thankful to my management, who has given me the opportunity to organize these programs in collaboration with Startup Culture, British Embassy, and the many speakers. Yesterday also, I'm very much astonished to see the younger entrepreneur and the one who has shown a lot of interest, that Shivaram. So it's one who is very wonderful. At the age of 12, he has done a lot of things in artificial intelligence. Even we struggle at this stage, we struggle, but he is very familiar with everything, right? And almost only I just when I was just looking into everything, just I'm saying that all have the practical experience. All the people have given some practical exposure. Whatever they have gained, they have shown to us. I'm really very thankful, and I think it will be very useful for the student who are all taking part in this. So we see to that many number of entrepreneurs, many number of startup emerge as an outcome of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And I request all the students to write the exam. It helps for all the people to select the 20 students and award as a student startup program. And it helps to find your pitch ideas into innovation and it into a company. And all the best for all you guys. I just want to end it with one challenge. Startup Culture is giving you a 10-week challenge to start a business. And I'll keep the challenge the comment box too. Let me explain the challenge once. Week 1 challenge is like know your why and understand the reality of entrepreneurship. Week 1 completely work on this process, and week 2 validate your idea and find the people who pay for your idea. This most important part in your entrepreneur journey. And week 3 identify the most niche you need and learn and build a business model canvas. Mostly the week 3 will be on learning related to your idea. Learning is most beautiful part, I think so, because learning is equal to earning. How much you learn and that much you earn, and that makes your life grows, obviously. And week 4, start tracking your progress with the deadlines. And week 5, talk to 5 or more entrepreneurs in a similar business and get ideas from them and advices, suggestions from them. Week 6, prepare the budget you need to start at your venture. Week 7, prepare the budget for your monthly expenses and revenue. Week 8, consider emergencies and possible failures and surprises, and be sure that failures also will come and withstand it. In week 9, revisit the deadlines and come up with the 12-week plan of your business. And week 10, the final week, read about the leadership and avoid the most common mistakes everyone will be done. And I hope this will be a great challenge for you all you guys to grow in your lives as an entrepreneur journey. I wish you all a very good luck. And don't forget to do your fill in the exam and give the feedback link here by you. And thank you everyone who supported the startup culture. I don't want to rename all them, and I sincerely want to thank them all. Thank you very much.